Imagine every time it rains, your city turns into a river. Silly, never happens. But it's happened. Sounds terrifying, isn't it? It's the story of Chicago once. And they've got an idea to stop this, the Deep Tunnel Project. But it's not the end of the story. The city is now looking to nature for further solutions. Let's explore the incredible story of this tunneling system. Chicago, built on low, swampy land, has always struggled with water. Imagine streets turning into rivers after heavy rain, but these rivers aren't just clean water, they're mixed with sewage. This was Chicago's reality for a long time. Rainwater and sewage flowed through the same pipes, a system called a combined sewer system. When it rained heavily, these pipes couldn't handle the volume. Think of it like a crowded highway during rush hour. Eventually, things spill over. In Chicago's case, the spill was dirty, contaminated water flooding the streets and polluting the Chicago River. This wasn't just a messy nuisance, it was a major health risk. Contaminated water meant the risk of diseases spreading, and it even threatened the city's drinking water supply from Lake Michigan. Chicago knew it had to act quickly to protect its citizens and its environment. They needed a solution to this messy, unhealthy problem. This combined sewer system, common in older cities, uses the same pipes for rainwater and sewage. It's like having one pipe for everything. In dry weather, it usually works fine, but when it rains a lot, the system gets overloaded. Imagine trying to drink a thick milkshake through a tiny straw. It's going to back up and spill. And speaking of things flowing smoothly, if you enjoy stories like this, you might want to tap into that like button and maybe even subscribe, so you don't miss the next one. That's what happened in Chicago. The extra rainwater mixed with sewage, overwhelming the pipelines and spilling out onto the streets, causing floods of dirty water. This was a big problem, and the city knew it had to find a better way to manage all that water. They tried some creative solutions, but the flooding kept happening. One of the first things Chicago tried was really a crazy idea. They lifted the whole city. Now imagine that. Houses, shops, even streets all raised up in the air. It sounds impossible, but they did it. They used jacks to slowly lift everything several feet. This created space underneath to build a new and improved sewer system. It was a massive undertaking, like rebuilding the city from ground up, but it gave the water a better place to flow. Thinking about how they managed to lift all those buildings without them collapsing is mind-boggling. If you walk around Chicago today, you might notice something strange about some older buildings. Their ground floors are actually lower than the street level. These sunken floors are a reminder of Chicago's past, which, when the city was literally raised up. It's like a hidden history lesson built right into the city's architecture. This massive undertaking allowed for better drainage and a new sewer system, but it wasn't a perfect solution. While it helped, it didn't fully address the problem of flooding and pollution. So Chicago took another step. They reversed the flow of the Chicago River. This was a huge engineering challenge. Imagine changing the direction of a whole river. Previously, the river flowed into Lake Michigan, which is where Chicago gets its drinking water. This was a major concern because sewage was flowing into the area. By reversing reverse flow, they could direct the sewage away from the lake and towards the Mississippi River. This was a significant improvement in protecting the city's drinking water, but it still wasn't enough to stop the flooding during heavy rainstorms. The city was making progress, but it still needed a better way to manage all the rainwater and sewage. Even after raising the city and reversing the river, Chicago's water problems persisted. During heavy storms, the sewer system, even though improved, simply couldn't handle the huge amount of water pouring in. It was like trying to fit an elephant through a dodgy door. It just wasn't gonna work. The combined rainwater and sewage overwhelmed the system, spilling out into the Chicago River and other nearby waterways. This was a major problem, not just because it was messy, but because it caused serious pollution. The river became contaminated with untreated sewage, posing a significant risk to public health. People could get sick from contact with the polluted water, and the environment suffered too. By 1960s, these water flows were happening almost 100 times a year. It was a full-blown environmental crisis. The city desperately needed a better way to handle all that water. They needed a long-term comprehensive solution, something that would finally put an end to the flooding and pollution. Chicago's ongoing struggle with flooding and pollution led to a truly ambitious idea: the Deep Tunnel Project. This wasn't just a small fix, it was a massive, unprecedented undertaking. The plan was to build a second river, but instead of flowing above ground, this river will be hidden deep beneath the city. This deep tunnel, officially known as the Tunnel and Reservoir Plan (TARP), is a huge network of tunnels and reservoirs designed to hold millions and billions of excess water. Think of it as a giant underground bathtub for the entire city, always ready to catch the extra water during a big storm. So how does this amazing system work? Imagine a massive rainstorm hitting Chicago. Instead of all that water flooding the streets and overwhelming the sewers, it gets captured and rerouted into a hidden network of underground tunnels. It's like the city has its own secret drainage system, working behind the scenes to keep everything flowing smoothly. These tunnels aren't your average pipes. They are gigantic. Some are as wide as 32 feet, big enough to drive a truck through. They stretch for over 100 miles beneath the city, forming a vast network that collects and moves excess water away from the regular sewers. This prevents the sewers from getting overloaded and spilling out onto the streets and into the river. The Deep Tunnel Project was a game changer, an attempt to tame the city's water problems once and for all. The water then flows into large reservoirs which acts like giant storage tanks. These reservoirs are massive, capable of holding billions of gallons of water. Some of them are even old rock quarries that the city cleverly repurposed for this project. The water stays in these reservoirs until it can be treated properly. This gives the treatment plant some time to process the water and clean it before it is released back into the environment. Building this incredible system was a huge undertaking. It was an incredibly complex task that required some really innovative engineering solutions. They had to dig these massive tunnels deep underground without disrupting the city above. They used special machines to make the digging process faster and more efficient. It was a massive effort, costing billions of dollars, but it was an investment in the city's future. The Deep Tunnel Project had made a huge difference in Chicago. Before it was built, the sewers overflowed about 100 times a year, polluting the river and flooding the streets. Now that number is dramatically lower. The system has helped to reduce flooding significantly and keep the Chicago River and Lake Michigan much cleaner. It's a major accomplishment in urban water management and a testament to human ingenuity. But has it completely solved the problem? Well, quite not. While the deep tunnel has incredibly been effective, it's not a perfect solution. Climate change is bringing more intense and frequent rainfall, and sometimes even the deep tunnel struggles to keep up with the sheer volume of water. We've seen instances in recent years where the system has been overwhelmed and some overflows have still occurred. It's a reminder that even the most impressive engineering feats have their limits, especially when faced with the unpredictable power of nature. So what's the next step? While the Deep Tunnel Project has been an innovative step, Chicago isn't really relying on it alone. The city is now exploring other ways to manage rainwater, taking a more holistic approach. One promising approach is called green infrastructure. This involves using natural solutions like planting more trees, creating rain gardens, and installing bioswales. While these eco-friendly methods will help to absorb rainwater naturally, reducing the amount of water that even reaches the sewer system in the first place, green infrastructure won't replace the deep tunnel. This tunnel system is still a vital part of Chicago's water management strategy, but green infrastructure can play a crucial role in creating a more sustainable and resilient city. It's about working with nature, not against it, finding ways to integrate natural processes into the urban environment. Chicago's fight against flooding is an ongoing process, a continuous effort to adapt to the changing climate and protect the city from the power of water. The Deep Tunnel is a remarkable example of what can be achieved with vision, determination, and innovative engineering. It's a vital part of Chicago's infrastructure, working tirelessly beneath the scenes to keep the city safe, dry, and clean. It's a story of human ingenuity meeting the challenges of nature, and it's a story that's still being written. The Deep Tunnel Project is a fascinating example of engineering solving urban problems. What do you think? Comment below, like and share, and check out our video on the bridge that nearly crashed New York. Stay tuned and subscribe for more.